Law Talk with Nick Maruchak. Thanks to MKI Legal, your trusted employment and family lawyers.
I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Nick Maruchak joins us from MKI Legal. You just entered a parallel universe, Nick. It's the first time in 15 years James and I are working together where he's not been here with me. And he's well and truly forgiven. Everyone's laughing at in the studio because it's never happened before.
Go back and listen to the record, see the gap.
That's pretty funny. That reminds us that radio stations are powered by people. Got lots of lights and electricity and nice things, but radio stations are all about people. 133 882. If you'd like to ring Nick Maruchak today. Nick, an issue came up yesterday for us and over in previous weeks. If you want to take challenge a parking infringement legally in court, and if you fail, one of our listeners was saying yesterday, well, then that can become a criminal conviction. It can go on your record as a criminal record. Is that true?
Yes. So I did research this before I came in today, and I did find an interesting case where a person challenged a parking fine in 2022 against City of Melville. He got a $70 fine and he took it to court and he lost, and the fine went up to $200, and he also had to pay the city's legal fees, which amounted to $2,000 as well. And the answer is, if you take it to court and lose, yes, it can become on your criminal record because it'll be something called a simple offence, right? But the reality is that there's a few things that can happen here. One is the court can say, well, it's so minor, we won't record the conviction, but you have to be lucky for that. Then the other thing is you might also get a spent conviction, which means it's not on your criminal record. And if it is on your criminal record, then it's very minor. I mean, I don't know how that would impact your job prospects if you've got a fine.
Challenge the parking fine.
Yeah.
So who makes the decision as to whether it is a spent conviction or not?
Oh, the judge will make it at the time.
The person, the human being? Yeah.
Yep, the judge. So when you're convicted, when you go to sentencing, you can make an application. And generally, my understanding is the court will give you a spent conviction if it's your first offence. If it's your second or third one, you haven't learnt your lesson, you're not going to get a spent conviction. But if it's a minor one, you probably get one as well. So that's how it works. This is in a unique category because it's council laws, and where normally if you're getting prosecuted for just by the police prosecutor, you don't have to pay their legal costs if you lose. But because the council's involved and they have to spend money on it, it's different.
I find that extraordinary. If you want to challenge, if you're unsuccessful and then you have a criminal goes on your record. Yeah.
So end of the day, it's actually
it's a really, disincentive, isn't it?
It is. So I mean, maybe write the letter and do the internal review, and then if you lose on that, then probably just cut your losses and pay. But the councils can be quite aggressive. The City of Vincent has a list of common scenarios that they say, and they say, there's a question here on their website. I had to use the toilet urgently, and they say, nope, that's not considered a medical emergency. You still have to pay the fine. So there's a lot of no's on their website about what won't get you off a ticket.
Yeah. All right. 133 882. If you'd like to speak to Nick Maruchak today, the council parking infringement plot thickens here on Law Talk with Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal. 133 882. I won't spend a lot of time talking about this, Nick, but the notion that a contractor can come in and work for the national broadcaster for 3 days, get taken off air because of her social media posts, and then get $70,000 worth of our money for unfair dismissal. The mind boggles, Nick. Tell us the legal. Look at this through your legal prism.
Yep. So my understanding, she was a casual employee, and she was only there for a short period of time. Her contract, if ABC just waited, an extra week, nothing would have happened. But she expressed an opinion, a political opinion, about the war in Gaza, and the court found that she was fired because she expressed that opinion, and expressing a political opinion is a protected right in the same way that gender and race is. And the other thing that the ABC stuffed up is when they terminated her, they actually didn't follow their own enterprise agreement, which is a pretty basic mistake, I'd say. So the ABC there will be a fine coming for them later on for those two breaches.
It's all very well to be enshrined in free speech to be able to express a political opinion, but if you work for those guys, and I have, you sign up and there's an editorial charter. There are things you can and can't say.
So this is where the fine line is, right? So the ABC tried to argue that they breached the social media policy, that she breached the social media policy. And then it turned out that she didn't actually breach the social media policy. So it's a fine line between, and the other thing here in this case is the ABC argued that they gave her something called a direction not to post. But then the court found it actually wasn't a direction, it was more advice, so it wasn't something she had to follow. But if it would have been different if there was a breach of the policy. So there is still stuff about integrity in the media, and also not being compromised in a way that doesn't allow you to deliver the news. But she ultimately, it wasn't found that she breached that. So, and the $70,000 that she got is all because of the damages to her mental health and her health. This is a high publicity case. Her existing depression was exacerbated. So she got, $70,000 for damage to her health. And then there will be a fine coming, and because of these breaches. And my gut is that it'll probably close to $100,000 ABC might pay.
And again, I don't want to promote these guys overly, but ITA got involved as well. Ida Buttrose, the head of the ABC, got involved. She did.
She was receiving a lot of emails from lobbyists that wanted her off this reporter off the air, and at one point, and a lot of Ida's emails have actually been disclosed in the court, and one of them was actually really kind of interesting, where Ida says that, why can't she come down with the flu or COVID or stomach upset? We owe her nothing. So it's quite it's not something
very
that
un-ABC. Sort of thing you do when you manage a magazine, a commercial magazine, which Ida used to do. Yeah, incredible. Got a lot of column centimetres yesterday. Listen to 6PR, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. G'day, Chris.
How are you guys? Just a quick one to do with parking infringements.
Yeah.
I guess the difference in councils as well as a private car park versus a council car park. Quick one, I was in Fremantle, went to the markets, was in a car thinking about going into the markets, went onto my phone and the Easy Park app, and paid for the ticket on the phone. And then I got a fine a few weeks later for that parking. What I didn't realise was I was in a Wilson car park, and the Wilson car park is right next to a council car park. I rang City of Fremantle and they were lovely, and they said, look, we're lenient on situations like that and we'll let you off the $65 fine.
Yeah.
Parking Enforcement Services said, I went and saw them and they said, put an appeal in. I did, and then they basically said, well, tough luck, you infringed. I showed them that, I'd paid for parking, but they said, well, you paid for the wrong car park, and they were side by side. And it's Wilson, and they're pretty nasty, I think, in private car parks. And they don't use the Wilson brand name; they use it called a Parking Enforcement Services.
Yep.
Which they own.
It's pretty frustrating. They're inflexible and pretty frustrating exercise where I think the councils largely try and do the right thing, especially City of Fremantle. But
Chris, so our listeners know this, I know that near the Windsor in South Perth, there's a council car park next to a Wilson's or whatever it is. Where's this one you're talking about?
It was in Fremantle, just near the Fremantle markets. So there's a Wilson car park just near the markets.
Yep.
And then right next to it, there's 12 car bays, which are City of Fremantle.
Yeah, okay. So you went to the wrong meter.
Well, I didn't go to the meter. I did it on my phone. I did it on an app.
Yeah, okay.
I just went onto the app and it went, I'm sitting in a car park and I go onto the Easy Park and we pay for the ticket on the app.
Yeah.
And then get out the car, and actually, because we were sitting adjacent to the City of Fremantle parking bays, it clicked into that. There's actually 2 parking meters.
Yeah. I've seen those, and I know exactly what you mean. So is your question to Nick, where do you stand with having to pay the parking enforcement fine? Is that what you're asking?
Where do you stand?
So quite a common scenario. Basically, in your situation, Chris, this is not a criminal offence. This is a private civil matter. So what Wilson's is doing is they're saying that this is not actually a real fine. This is a breach of contract, right? So there's a special name for it called liquidated damages. They're saying you breach the terms of the of entering the premises. The term says you have to have a ticket. You breach that. So our losses now are going to be this fine that they issue. And the way it works is this fine can't be, it has to be reasonable, and it can't be a penalty, because in a breach of contracts, you can't penalise. So the reality is that it's a civil claim. If they want to recover this from you, they have to go to the magistrate's court, they have to file a claim, and they have to pursue this in the same way as any other civil debt. So you can have one or two choices. You can pay it or you can fight it and hope it goes away. And in most cases, I think it goes away. And I have a personal story of this, because I actually got fined by Wilson on this weekend as well. Because I was going into work and their ticket machine didn't work and I got a fine. I just threw it in the bin. I'm not even going to waste my time emailing them to explain that their ticket machine didn't work, because this is my hope. And I'm saying this on radio, so they might target me. But I just don't think they'll go after it. I think they just send you 3 nasty letters. They'll make it look like it's a fine, but it's not a fine, and they'll increase the fine over time. And then most cases they just stop. And they don't really go after you because they have to file a claim in the magistrate's court. It costs hundreds of dollars to file that because they're a large company. So that's if you want to play that game, you can just ignore their correspondence and hope it goes away, right? I think you'll take it seriously when maybe you get a letter from a lawyer and they actually do give you something where it's a draft claim. They're going to file something with the court. Then you might want to pay it. Yeah. But so it's a risky game, right? Because if the only downside is if you go to court and defend it, it can be on your credit record, right? So
okay.
But like if they were going to sue me, right, this is what I would do. I would you go to a mediation quickly, you resolve it at mediation, you agree with them to pay something, and then you have the claim dismissed, and then it won't go on your credit record. So that's the whole kind of summary on that. Yeah,
Chris, I hope that helped. We're up against the clock a bit here, mate, so I need to move on. Let us know how you go, Chris, okay?
Yep. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate. 12 minutes to 11, back in a moment. Nick Maruchak's with us from MKI Legal. Nick, we just heard an advertisement, a commercial for The Surfer, the Nick Cage movie. I went to see it a couple of weekends ago. No surfing.
No, because that was filmed filmed here, right?
It was filmed in Yellingup.
Yeah.
It should be called the car park. There's no surfing, mate. It's a set of steps and a car park.
But how was the movie overall? Was it worth seeing?
I liked it, yeah. Okay. I think my mate who I saw it with, she wasn't that enamoured of it, but I wanted to see the end, and it's like Nick Cage's descent into madness. It's worth seeing, I think, but you will need one of those special cinemas where you can have a Pimm's and lemonade while you're watching it. It's one of those sort of films.
Yeah, Nick went and did a lot of B or C grade movies for a while.
Gets right out there, doesn't he? Should be called the car. It's worth it. If anyone's seen The Surfer, let me know. Tell me what you think. Been advertised heavily on this station. I recommend seeing it, and but you might need a little refreshment while you're watching it. 1338 882 is the phone number. I think last week we had a chat about privacy on the show, and I think you got an update for us there.
Yep. So about a couple of weeks ago, the new law has changed against this is Australia-wide, which gives every Australian resident a new right to sue for serious privacy breaches. So if someone misuses your information and there was a reasonable expectation of privacy and they did it either intentionally or just careless or recklessly, right, then you can sue them directly for that breach. In the past, you had to go through the Privacy Commission, you have to go through other organisations. Now you can sue directly. And the other important thing here is you don't have to prove losses, which is actually really kind of important. So that means, I'll give you some examples where this could apply, right? So if someone records you in your personal space in an Airbnb, if a neighbour's recording your backyard, if you sent intimate photos to someone and then they share it with other people, right? If there is a data breach by a company, that's reckless, right? So it's not just negligent. It's like they knew there was a risk and they didn't do anything to stop it, and that would count. Or if you give your information to your employer and they use it for something outside of work purposes. So these are the different kind of categories where this right could allow people to commence a claim and to start suing. So it's interesting law, I think, and it will just help people, because in the past you go to the Privacy Commissioner and you're waiting for ages for them to process it, and it's out of your hands. And this law is much wider than going to the Privacy Commission, because the Privacy Commission has some exceptions, like small businesses aren't bound by it, only applies to personal information, where this can apply to a much wider range, and it can apply to individuals as well.
Just on the parking issues that you and I have been talking about today, and I appreciate you adding some clarity and some legality to it. It's blown my mind, this notion of how we're pinging people for overstaying for parking these days, or not getting a parking ticket. The other complicator in here, Nick, is you're using an external app to buy your parking, so using Easy Park.
Yep.
And the council is saying, well, it's not our fault if you can't use the app properly.
Yeah.
But the councils are the ones who have the little pink sign up, and they are forcing you to use Easy Park. Like we went to a place last night for a 6PR function, and there was no other way for paying for parking apart from Easy Park. So if that's not working, like the situation you had with your ticket on the weekend, they wash their hands and say, well, it's not our fault the app or the technology doesn't work. Yeah. That's complicating, isn't it?
Yeah, and City of Vincent has the questions and answers about what will constitute an excuse. And one of them is the ticket machine was faulty. And they say here, I'm just reading it now, it says, if the fault is with Easy Park app, then you need to contact them directly. So they are
washing their hands
of it. And so if the app is faulty, you will need to contact Easy Park, and then you have to go through their process. But that, to me, on the face of it, is a good excuse. So the council, when you do your internal appeal, and
you just take a screenshot.
Yeah, you can take a screenshot, and because if they say if one ticket machine is faulty, then you have to go and try and find another one. If you don't have coins or anything, that's no excuse. But if the app is faulty itself and not working, then to me that would be that would be sufficient reason. But then you're taking that risk. You're then taking that risk and going to court.
With the Cambridge one, the people are taking a screenshot of their Easy Park payment, going into the council offices and saying to the people, they look at this and they go, no, too bad.
I've had problems with my Easy Park app because when I'm trying to change the payment from my personal card to my work card, it just takes forever to change it, so that app is not perfect. So yeah, do the internal review, but then we need a test case. We need someone to be brave enough to run it to court. Oh, I don't want to risk the criminal record, and if I lose, I have to pay extra $2,000 to the council. So. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just easier to pay it and move on.
Yeah, I think that is how Middle Australia does things. Oh, well, I'll just pay it. Nick, thank you. I look forward to having a chat to you next week. Thanks so much for your advice and your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you, Bowie.
Cheers, mate. Nick Maruchak, he'll be back with us next week with more law talk. It's coming up 3 minutes to 11.